Hi, this is KanD Johnson. I made a promise to my Facebook friends that I was going to explain a statement that I made on a status update earlier. The statement that was made was that if you're practicing or you're trying to learn the guitar or bass, and it probably would be applicable to any type of instrument. Hey, um, hey, Ken. Um, that if you want to really build up your skills, I've noticed that a lot of people, when they're learning how to play, that they go from playing one thing to another, either one chord to another, or what have you, or trying to do different riffs, because they're so anxious to get going and just doing a whole song, or get going and just being able to say, I know how to do every riff in this song. But I gave the advice to not do that. And it's tempting. I've been there learning how to play the keyboard. But I noticed that I became more skillful at knowing where the notes was that I wanted to hit by playing the same thing over and over again. Repetition is the best teacher for anything you want to learn. Repetition and actual application of repetition is the best teacher. So my advice is to play the same riff over and over and over again. Now, there are some people that will tell you, no, you play the whole song out. No, I would say play the same riff, but at different tempos, over and over and over again. And the reason that I said play it at different tempos instead of playing different riffs is because when you play it at different tempos, you become more skillful with learning where your fingers are placed on the guitar or on the instrument more accurately. Because when you're playing at different tempos, especially if you start off at a slow tempo and build your way up to playing that same riff at a different tempo, what happens is you are actually programming your mind to know where your hands should be. No matter what tempo you're playing that riff, you're programming your hands where they should be. This will help you learn to listen. Okay, when I went up a note, my hands was here. When I went down a note, my hands were over here. And that will simultaneously teach you how to play your instrument without looking at your hands and where they're positioned. If you learn how to play a riff slowly and then build yourself up in tempo. And what happens is, along the way, when you learn how to play it at a slow tempo very well and become more skillful at playing it at a slow tempo, then you can pick up your speed. Once you pick up your speed, then that process has already taught you where your fingers should be placed, so you don't have to be looking at your instrument when you play, because your brain is already programmed to know where your fingers are to be placed in position, what's comfortable for you to play that note at whatever speed, because you've already practiced it. And once you learn to do that and do one riff at a time at different tempos, what happens is you'll find that you'll learn that music is very simple. You got high notes, and you got low notes. So that's what is you're secretly teaching yourself that if you're not focused on, oh, I want to learn how to position my fingers. I want to learn where the high notes are, or what notes is where, and learn how to position my fingers to hit those notes at the correct timing. Then you can teach yourself all of those things if you don't focus on those things. And it sounds backwards, but I think we hinder ourselves from learning by focusing on too many things at once. My main thing I tell all musicians is you need to be able to hear. You need to be able to hear what's going on. Say, for example, you're like, wait a minute, we practiced this song in the key of F flat or F sharp, and perhaps that singer is hoarse that day and you may need to change something in the song. Even sometimes the drummer have to adjust tempos when a singer is tired, and maybe a song is maybe a little more upbeat, but if the singer is tired, they may have to break it down. They'll be able to go ahead on and perform, but to a point where they don't wear themselves out. So learning how to play your instruments at different tempos is extremely important, because it learns you to hear while you're playing. And it's very important to learn to hear what's going on, because you can't be so caught up in this song's supposed to be played in the key of F sharp when you're performing live, because real entertainment is being able to adjust to your situation and still rock the house. For me, it's to me, if I see a band performing and they're so worried about we practice this way and being so routine, when they see that their whatever it is that they practice is not going over well in the actual performance of that act, and they don't know how to adjust or improvise. Hi, Robert. Hi, Harwan. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Welcome. Learning how to adjust is a very important part of performing. I have been singing all my life since I was 5 years old. And I've sung in front of different audiences. I've sang different types of songs. Hey, Robert. What I learned from performing in front of different size audiences and different types of audiences, what I learned from that is being able to, hey, Hollywood from Southern Country Radio. How you doing, hon? And I would like to tap Hollywood in, but I don't know how to do that on this thing. I think do you invite friends to tap them in? Is that how you do this? Hollywood. I'm gonna invite Hollywood. I'm sure he has something to say about performances, since he is always out and about and patronizing other artists, shows and things of that nature. So you're welcome to come in and put your 2 cents in, Hollywood. But I was talking about the importance of artists learning to hear how the mood and the energy of the crowd and where you are performing at, it's important when you're practicing to practice doing that, so that when you're out and about, you're really sensitive in hearing when things shift in the crowd or the energy. If your energy is going down, and then you've learned how to practice a structured gig, but also learn how to adjust and improvise, then you can bring it when you do a live show, because most important is not that you perform your act perfectly like you planned it, but what's most important is that the people in the audience are satisfied when they leave. And I've seen a lot of people do very structured and choreographed acts, and just have no concern with crowd engagement or paying attention to the flow of the energy of the crowd, and that's very important when you're a professional entertainer or a professional performer. Now, I know at those big shows, a lot of big shows where they have a lot of things to distract people on stage. They have the props, and then they may have a whole setup there like a movie scene. And it's not necessarily to distract people, but it's to create the mood of the show. I think some artists take that for granted. And I've seen people come away from paying $250 for a show complaining. And for me, I mean, people do how they want to do, but the advice I would give is don't take those props and all the fancy stuff for granted. You want to put on a good show so that people want to come back, and they'll experience buyer's remorse from attending the show. That's real talk, man. I'm very opinionated when it comes down to music, but I'm also very opinionated towards myself and what I put out. It's not just critiquing other people's artistry and trying to find fault in them. I'm just very particular about music, because music to me is very spiritual, especially rock music, funk, soul. Those are some very spiritual genres to me, because of what I've seen in the past and in history. The artists, the souls of the artists are poured out into the music, and that's what makes it spiritual for me, And I had invited Hollywood to join in. I don't know exactly how this works, so and I'm not being given any more options, but I hope what I said can help a couple of artists that's on the up and coming. You trying to learn your instruments. Harwan, do you play an instrument? Robert, Howie, I heard you was gonna do a little recording. But I saw one of my Facebook friends practicing, and And she was like, a little discouraged, trying to hit the notes and trying to, get it going. But I just wanted to encourage all artists to keep at it. If you really love music and you really enjoy it, if you keep at it, you'll definitely get better with time. And some things can't be learned unless you just do it. Oh, okay. Conquers is music. Robert Conquers is music. And what's that? That's the percussion section. That's the rhythm section, I reckon. And that's definitely an important part of the music. I love congas. I'll probably pronounce it wrong, so you wouldn't even recognize the whole instrument if I say it. But I love congas and rhythmic. Most rhythmic music have some congos in there, especially ethnic music like islanders music and the Jamaicans and reggae music. Oh, the Spanish people. Oh man, they can tear them congas up now. Don't get it twisted. They can wreck them congas. I done seen them do it. And so that is not an insignificant instrument at all. I love music, and anything can bring joy if that's what you want to do with it. Hey, Derry, how you doing? Welcome, welcome. That's I think that's one of my new Facebook friends from Texas. I think you from Texas, right? I'm from Houston, Texas, and I always say by way of Louisiana because my people from on my daddy's side from Louisiana, and you know they good. We good people down there. You know where you at down south? We good peoples. Um, so welcome. Now I'm a little what you call that serene today. But I'm usually very wow. It get crucial on my page. So hang tight. Make sure you strap up and put your stirrups on when you come over my page now. You gotta put your chaps and your stirrups on when you come over on my page now. Oh, shucking. And, yeah, hold on, guys. That's why I wear these ties. I wear these ties for it's multi-purpose. It's for fashion, and I also wear it so when people don't know how to deal with me and they ain't used to hanging with me, they'll have something to hold on to. Hold on, just hold on. I just held him one time. Hold on, then it's gonna be a rough ride. Yes, so shucking. Real talk, though. Um, but I just wanted to give a few little pointers. I ain't no uh musician, professional, guru, or nothing like that. I stay in my lane. I don't profess to be nothing that I'm not now, but I am good at what I do. I am very good at what I do, and so I can speak on that. If I don't know nothing about it, please believe I'm gonna shut the hell up and let the people talk that do. You understand? And so there are some people who are professionals by trade, that would definitely agree with the advice that I've given, because they know what I'm talking about, and they understand and have experienced it, and practice, and built up their skills, hearing skills. See, I see a lot of people that want to be aspiring producers, right? Such as myself. But I see a lot of aspiring producers that have a lot of concern about, I want the latest system, I want the biggest system, I want the most knobs on mine, or the biggest interface and this and that. But none of that impresses me in particular, just because people have instruments, because anybody can buy a lot of fancy equipment, in as long as they had the money to pay for it. And people will assume that just because they may even have a paper from a school that they went to for music, that automatically make them an expert at making music or creating music. I don't give much credit or much weight to pieces of paper. Not much. Especially when it come down to music. I don't give any credit or any weight or even acknowledge pieces of paper, because papers don't tell what your skill level is. And so if someone tells me that they are an expert at something, I'm gonna need to see some proof of that. And if I listen to their music and I don't feel nothing, then the way that I look at it is, you're an expert to everybody but me. And I have a right, to my opinion, so do you. And so if you consider them as an expert, that's your business. But for me, anyone that I'm going to look up to or give credit to in that capacity to call them an expert, they're going to have to come with it. I have a song called Be About It. And in that song, it says, I ain't going to talk about it, I'm going to be about it, And it's in part of the lyrics in that song, it say, fake ass rappers rapping about F or B this and S my D that. You can sell 1 million records, but your shit is still whack. And Red Fox will fake a heart attack to keep from listening to that. I wrote those lyrics because that's exactly how I feel in the music industry, that I don't care how many Grammys you have. I don't care how many awards you have, whatever music awards. I don't care where you was at on the line on the billboards. If I didn't see art in you or creativity coming directly from you, then I don't give you that honor or that respect of idolizing you as an artist. Period. I don't care who you is. No, I just don't do it. And on the flip side of that as well, there are some artists that haven't never been on the charts, nowhere in the lineup, that I have the highest respect for and look up to them, because they come with it, you dig, you got to come with it in this game. I mean, you can't be half-stepping and hiding behind a bunch of fancy instruments, because one day them instruments gonna give out on you, and you gonna be looking shame because you were so dependent on those instruments, hiding your lack of skill or whatever, and then that's what'll shame you. But when you putting in work to build your skill up, The instruments can go out, but you can still rock the house because it's not about the instrument when it come down to performing and entertaining. Thank you all so much. I appreciate that. Real talk though, I love to encourage artists to do their very best and nothing less, because that's what I'm gonna do as well. I ain't claiming to be the best of everything, but I know I'm gonna come with it with whatever I come with. Thank you, love. Robert Santos in the house. Robert Santos, I appreciate your love. Edna, I appreciate your love, hon. He be over there wrecking on them turntables. Yeah. I got some favorite DJs. Howie, Hollywood over at Southern Country Radio. That's my favorite country station on Facebook. And I got and Robert over there, and shucks, I forgot his name. But I got a couple of DJs, Kareem. Yeah, I'll be looking out for y'all. I love music. Yes, exactly. You got to feel the music. You got to feel the music. Absolutely. I went to a club once and I was trying to hype the DJ up to play some things that get the people on the dance floor, and he refused to do it. And he told me that he had some kind of deal with the owner not to play good music to keep people buying drinks. And I won't disclose what establishment that is, but I know that's some crooked shit going on there, and it's so detrimental to the establishment. And I don't think they even realize it, because they was complaining at the same time right after they was the guy was telling me that they do that. They was complaining because they said that a fight broke out, and every night fights break out and they get fined and all this kind of stuff, and they don't realize they bringing it on themselves, trying to pump people up with alcohol instead of getting people on the dance floor where they can buy a few drinks, dance a little bit off, buy a few drinks. You know, you're gonna make the money. Just do right. You're gonna make the money, especially if people know good music is being played there, and then the hype gets out, because I definitely a hyper club. And it's other people like me that will do it as well. And they'll pack their house out. And that's how you make money, not by getting people drunk where they're so inebriated that people with bad, people getting bad attitudes and wasting drinks on other people, and fights break out. And, I just couldn't believe when he verbalized that to me. I know stuff like that goes on, but when he verbalized it so blatantly that was the purpose of him not playing good music, I was ready to go. I was just ready to go. I've never heard of a DJ not wanting to please the crowd and being satisfied, and he was bragging about it, and I was saying, wow. But anyway, I appreciate the love. Thank you, Robert, for coming in and showing love. And I'm going to end this broadcast. But in the meantime, in between time, as always, I say keep it real or take your ass back to fantasy land.